It's tea time. I know you guys like my singing. Welcome to episode 3. Nobody should have put a mic in front of me. I can't help it. I'm going to have to sing. But anyways, it's episode 3. I'm your host, Tama Alyssa, and this is Catch Tea, if you can, where I bring to you real people with relatable stories who bet on themselves and are winning. Today, our special guest is Brittney Price. If you have the pleasure of following her on Instagram, it looks like Brittney Price, which is Brittney S. Price. And Brittney is a Los Angeles-based fine artist and muralist specializing in impactful visual commentary on current events. As a female Black American, Brittney's perspective of life is unique, and her art brings representation to those often overlooked, such as the Black race, Black women, their stories. And as Brittney puts it, her artwork literally is like you're reading a page out of her diary. And what I appreciate about Brittney's work is that it's very clear. You see in every mural or every piece that she does, the intent to uplift, celebrate, and teach her community using art as a vessel. So today, for the Pour the Tea segment, please help me welcome Brittney Price. Let's get into it, girl. Let's get into it.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, of course, we have to pour the tea, and I mean literally pour the tea. So I want to know what kind of tea you have sitting in your mug.
I have that green tea, Kirkland's finest.
What? I need to get, I have green tea too. Do you drink yours with sugar? What do you put in yours?
It's just plain. I'm trying to lose this quarantine weight, so just plain, let it go.
I put a little bit of honey in mine, so it tastes good. It tastes real good. So I'm really excited. I did the whole intro for you, but I really want to get into from you, who is Brittney, and what would you describe your artwork as?
I am a human being trying to be present in the moment, and I express myself through art, and so therefore my art is my journal. I'm currently in this like weird, I don't know what to call it, like it's
limbo?
Not a purgatory.
Limbo?
Limbo, a moment of transition where I'm getting to this point where I want to express more. And I'm learning, I have to research how to express more. I feel like there's like this blockage and there's so much more that I want to share with people, but I have to dig through the weeds to get there, if that makes any sense.
Right. So do you mean you would want to reach deeper more from a personal standpoint in terms of how it's reflected in your work?
Yeah. My work is a reflection of how I'm processing the world as it is right now. I've gotten a lot of critique that my work is powerful and political, sometimes offensive to the wrong crowd as well. And to them, I just say, this is my journal. Like, I'm a Black woman living in America at this moment, and this is what I feel.
That's real. I want to get into, I know, first of all, again, like I said, I want to thank you so much for your time, because to even get this time from you, I know it's a reach, because I think I called you about 3 weeks ago to be on episode 2 for me. And you're like, I got commissioned a job, so I won't be available till after like mid October. And just in general, us trying to meet up as friends, you're always busy, which I'm super happy for. But
yes.
Go ahead.
But also as friends, if we could be candid, we're kind of polar opposites when it comes to personality.
Absolutely.
Like, you are a social butterfly. Like, you can talk to anyone, anywhere, any place, anytime. You're ready. For me, I got a plan.
Yeah, you got to mentally prep.
Prepare. I like the small settings, no more than like 4 in a room. Like that's where I kind of.
We could set those up too, girl. We could set those up. And you know what? As I've grown, it's funny that you bring that up. I'm a loner, girl. So you can come sit on the couch with me and we could be little loners together. I am. I've grown to be more of the personal settings type one-on-one hang out. So definitely that is something that we need to set up and stop making excuses about.
Yeah.
But for me,
Yes.
it's also taking the time to reach out is something I've been really bad about lately. So we got to work on that.
Yeah. No, but you do a really good job, and I need to say yes more often, because what's life without experiencing it with people? So I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate you for continuing to reach out, even though sometimes I'm a little like,
no, of course. No, I know how it is. So, but I do want to get into that, how we know each other. And we met through our friend Dominique. And,
hey, Dom!
Right? Hey, Dominique. Hey, girl. But when we met, we both were in that transitioning phase of working for corporate America and trying to decide, are we going to follow what our passion is or what our true desires are? I say heart desires, and kind of figuring out, trying to map the way for that. And I feel like that's why you and I automatically connected. Like you said, we're total opposites, but that was our commonality.
We're at a point of transition, but at the same time, we're still hungry. You know what I mean?
So
There's people
hungry.
that are hungry to be more and to do more.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we both have amazingly grown from that point.
Absolutely. And one thing I also want to thank you for is it doesn't matter what I'm working on, what I'm posting. I could do a story of being out at a networking event and Britt will always have something positive to say, like, yes, girl, yes, sis, wearing the natural style or whatever. And I really appreciate that.
I can say the same about you, though. Like, there was a point in time where, like, every art show I had, you were there. There was even one that I had, and you were sick, and you still showed up for me.
Yeah.
You barely made it.
You know why? I think it's because it really means a lot to me, being that I know I'm always in that position, and I know it stands out to me who shows up and shows out for you, especially in times of when you don't actually have everything planned out and you're trying to figure it out as you go. The people who care about you the most, that take the time to show up for you during those times, to me, mean the most. So I try to extend that to others. And I know, you and I had many conversations about you going full time with your artwork, the fact that you're doing it and doing it big. Anytime I can be there, there's no, like, half the time I find out about stuff and I'm like, Brittney, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there
because you have a life.
But I know, but I want to support you, and I appreciate the support that you extend to me as well.
I appreciate that so much. Also, just like a little side topic is, I didn't grow up with people being there for me and being there in my corner, just being present. So having friends that do that, it's teaching me how to love and also teaching me how to reciprocate that type of energy as well, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but not even not even reciprocate, how to accept. Because I realize sometimes we don't know how to accept our own blessings, right? We're not comfortable, and it's something we're not comfortable with. So I'm just learning how to accept it, and it's like, just let me know, and I will. If I can't be there, I can't be there. But yeah, you got to learn how to accept it. So anyway, I want to get into. You have so much to talk about. Like I said, doing the research that we did for this episode, I thought I kept up with Brittney. I was like, oh, I got, I see all her stories. I see all her posts. I was like, I know she's busy, but your girl is busy. Okay.
We out here.
I am so proud of you. Doing the research for this was like, wow, she is doing her thing beyond what I even knew about. And the one that I didn't know about, but I want to get into, is you designed the vote sticker.
Ooh,
that
2020.
That 2020. Let's talk COVID. Let's talk COVID. Do we want to go back there? Do we need to sip the tea? Let's sip the tea first.
We need some tea.
Let's get into COVID. So I was chatting with my girl Danielle. She was on the last episode, and we were just talking about how it seems like art got bigger or better. There was more focus on art during COVID. Why do you think that was?
I don't know if that art got bigger, but I think the need for art increased. I feel like art is a thing that we what's the best way to say this? It's something that we need in order to survive. It's that grace that's given for us to help cope, to make sense of things.
Right.
And so we were in, I mean, 2020 was the end of the world as we knew it.
Exactly.
And there was no sense in politics. There was no sense in day to day. Even your 9 to 5 didn't make sense.
Right.
Like all the rules were broken. And I feel like people turned to artists for answers on how to process what we were going through. Essentially, like the matrix was broken.
Right.
So.
And on top of that, a lot of the visuals that they were showing they didn't invoke those positive, good feelings that you usually get when you look at certain pieces of art. So to me, I feel like you're right. It's not that it became bigger, but it became more of a lifeline for people, a relief, a different source of entertainment, because even social media, you went on there and you were seeing all those negative images over and over again. So people were looking somewhere else to kind of pull those, positive affirmations and visuals from.
And it was also through social media and art forms that we were getting our news.
Right.
I found out about, Kobe and then George Floyd, through social media on Instagram. That's how I found my news. So that became, and then, knowing that, what you see on the news is not necessarily direct information. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the truth. Then we had to be more active. We had to, search and dig for our information. And with becoming more interactive and intimate with events that were happening with the world, I think we felt more,
Yes. So how would you say as an artist that you survived during those times?
I have no clue.
Really?
I have no clue. I think the only way that I could make it through, day by day was just looking outside of myself. I really focused on community and just trying to make sense of why we're still dealing with racism, why we're still dealing with women's rights being taken away, why we're still dealing with issues that it seems fixable if we want to fix them.
Right.
So yeah, and then you don't know if the government's lying to you or not, and it was a strange year because that was my year of fully committing. I was already committed to artistry, but fully committing to, I'm not just me. I'm not just Brittney. I'm also a vessel. I'm a vessel because I have my perspective and I have my voice that means something, and other people can relate to that voice. And I think I do have to this is an Instagram commercial, but for my social media, it gave me empowerment. And through me speaking and through my art, other people were able to relate and feel empowered or also relate. And that was for the first time in my life that I actually felt important. My views and my ideas mattered. And my life mattered.
Your life mattered. No, and that's such a good point that you brought up, because I actually was going to ask you, feel like more opportunities came along out of COVID for you from the artist standpoint? What do you have to say about that?
Yes and no. Yeah. A lot of opportunity came for Black artists where there was suddenly the spotlight on us because everybody was like, oh, we have to hire Black artists to do our things because then that's going to be okay. I even got permission to do a Kobe mural, not because they were big fans of Kobe, but because they knew that if there was a Kobe mural, there was it was least likely to get graffitied over.
Wow.
So it became like a corporate, commercial thing. It's kind of like how on Pride Month, every single company is rainbows.
Right.
There's a thin line of yes, this is great. This is a victory. And then there's also, all right, we see what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're pandering.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right. But I do remember there was a point where I was just so tired of doing like, I was tired of painting pain. I do remember though that day where it was me and Shaq, and we were painting our George Floyd mural. And here you come around the corner, and you were with the protesters.
I was literally about to bring that up. I was like, hey, that's Brittney. I know her.
Yes.
You were in the middle of painting a mural while the protests were going on.
Yeah, we didn't even know we were going to be a part of it. We found a building. They allowed us to paint on it. And yeah.
Tell the story, though, about how while you were painting it, one of the residents had called the police or something, or people were throwing water and...
Yeah. So the night before, actually, I almost got detained because I always tell this story horribly, but because it was so traumatic for me. The night before, I went to go lay my sketch so that the next day I could just paint without, feeling too much pressure on me. So I laid my sketch. And I think curfew was 7:00 or something like that. And that's where everybody had to be off the streets downtown LA. And it was like 6:45 or something. And we had packed up all the sketch materials and everything. And my boyfriend Marcus was with me. And I had a paint. Okay. We had finished everything, packed up, and I was like, oh, let me just get a picture for the gram. Anyway, so I knew we were documenting history. So I go up and I have my spray can and I'm getting ready to just pose. And like, no kidding, like 8 different police cars came up on the corner and tried to detain us because they thought it was I was, illegally painting the building. I'm like, what is this? But for
with
me,
full ladders and paint and everything, they just thought you illegally took the time to set up your paint and a ladder and everything.
And we had even prepped the floor and prepped the building so that none of the paint would get on it was properly prepped. And so it didn't look like it was a rush job, and it was really disheartening. The lead cop that was interrogating was also Black. And I was crying uncontrollably because this is how, in my head, this is how it begins. This is the beginning of the end. So like in my head, just Sandra Bland, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all of those names were floating in my mind. And I'm like, am I next? Needless to say, they let us go, and Marcus handled everything for me because I literally was uncontrollably crying. Got home, whatever. The next day we go to paint. That same Black cop comes back and he apologizes. There's no reason.
At least he apologized. Wow. I wouldn't have even. I totally agree with that, but I wouldn't have even expected him to apologize.
The way that they treated us was so inhumane. They could have gotten all the information they needed from one cop coming over and asking us about things. But for them to pull up with their cars, lights going, hands behind your back, drop, it was so unnecessary.
But yet there's crackheads at the corner shooting up.
Very that. And so it was one of those times where it was just like this, like Shaq, after telling Shaq that story, he's like, you don't even have to paint tomorrow. I'm like, no, this is the reason why we paint. This is the reason why we have to, because this type of stuff happens every day to us for no reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of my experiences with mural. And then the next day you were there, which was awesome. And just seeing how many people were out in the streets that day was, I mean, I feel like the first month after that, the whole city of LA was just in the streets and protesting, which is so beautiful to see.
I feel like even me stepping out to protest was like, it was a personal protest, never mind the injustice, which is what it was about. But for me, COVID brought so many things internally to light. And just the fact that there are things that I want to speak out about, but I'm worried about what will my family think or what will my friends think. And it brought to light to me that I was this person who prided herself on not caring what people think and, being a trailblazer and just like, speaking my mind. And I'm like, man, but I hold back on a lot. I hold back on a lot. And I feel like that march, not to say it wasn't about George Floyd and, everything more than that, all the injustices. For me, it was almost, it was for me. It was for me too. It was for me too. And just kind of like, man, there's a lot that has to be talked about. And I feel like it starts with us and then our families before we reach out externally and expect other forces to understand and even get the picture. It starts with us. So that time, COVID, all of that, it brings up a lot, but I don't regret it at all. I don't take it back because
1000% agree with you.
Right.
And one of the things that I said, I 1000% agree with you. And one of the things that time period did bring to light were the people that remained silent.
Yeah.
Did you have friends that you were like, hold up, I thought.
Exactly.
Wait a minute.
Exactly. It brought up a lot of family conversations, and even my mom and I were discussing things and just kind of my upbringing and how I was like, oh, and it wasn't all negative. It was just kind of like, this is something that's never been talked about, And I thought it was for this reason, but I'm realizing it's really because of this reason or XYZ, So I appreciate, there was a lot that was negative going on, but I feel like there was a lot of positive that came out of it.
Yeah. And I also feel like the more we discuss things, the more that we give things a chance to heal.
I just want to get into mural life. It seems like is that more the direction you're going?
I am not. I just love the idea of public art. Because for so many years, I feel like we've been kept out of art. And art's always been for the elite or for the non-melanated. And so we're in this season of art collectors and just regular people enjoying art for the first time on a different stage. I mean, we have social media, so you literally can go on your phone or whatever device and see everything. See living artists. And so for me, art has always been for like dead white people, like dead white men. That's all I knew growing up. All right, do you know Michelangelo? Do you know Picasso and Dali? I mean, I know that they have different heritages, but what they look like
is
dead white men.
Yeah.
And so I never thought I could be an artist, that it could be viable. And so for me, although I do love canvas and gallery work, I feel like murals are amazing because not only do I get to embrace the community that my art is going to be living in, but I also, while I'm painting, I get to be that example for young Brittneys out there that didn't believe that they could be it, but now they can see that this is a viable option for them as a career.
Yeah.
Or even form of expression. It could be a hobby. Oh, she can paint. Like, I feel like there's so many people painting now that when I was younger, I didn't even think that it was possible. It was just like a little, okay, you're watercoloring, whatever.
Yeah.
Even my family didn't take it seriously.
What do you think was the change for that? The fact that now it is more people realizing I can actually make a legit career out of this.
I think one was with COVID and everything and the shutdown, business owners taking their stance of, yes, I support Black Lives Matter, or no, I don't. And I feel like them realizing that they can use art to
make that statement,
to back up their company values. And then also realizing as a consumer that we are also with our money making votes. Like I stopped altogether going to Home Depot because of they were Trump supporters.
Yeah.
I've been going to Home Depot my whole life. I'm at Lowe's now.
Yeah, at Lowe's.
And so it's just kind of one of those things where people being more intentional.
Yeah.
Businesses being more intentional with their campaign, their ads, and the way that they market themselves. I feel like that has given a lot of opportunities to artists, which is, I'm here for that trend.
Absolutely.
And then also social media actually showing that artists are live and we're normal people, and we also are open for commissions. And we're not just moody and artsy and, just making art for ourselves. And I mean, there is a spot for that type of artist, but there's also artists out here that are, trying to have a balanced life and still live a life of true expression.
So I saw that you were involved in the Paint the City Peaceful. Yeah, at the Beverly Center. Beautiful piece. I saw the link on ABC 7 News. Can you talk about that experience?
Yes. That was my first, I don't want to say it's my first. That was one of my measures in my art career where I was like, oh, I have something to say and it's powerful, and my art is needed. So for the Paint the City Peaceful collaboration with the Beverly Center, they actually gave us 20-foot by 10-foot glass on the side of their building. And we were able to put whatever we wanted to regarding how we were feeling about COVID, social rights, civil injustice. And I decided to put My Lady Justice up. And she was a 20-foot Black woman with a fro, it almost erased this, but she was holding the scale of justice. She was holding the scale of justice, and it was broken. And her hair had a sign that said, "I can't breathe." And she was coming from flames that were made up of red, white, and blue. And so for me, that was the loudest I've ever been in my life. I've always had this tiny voice. And so I've had a tiny voice, and for whatever reason, people attribute that to being cute. And so I have a lot of powerful messages that I like to express, but it's not always taken seriously because of the delivery. And so with me, my art allows me to put that message out without having the filter of who I am, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. How did you feel when you saw the finished product? Were you even taken back, like, I did that? Me? With this little voice? Me?
I think I was just more happy I didn't embarrass myself because I was going up with other artists. And so I'm a newbie.
Yeah.
So I still have those nerves and those anxiety that my skills aren't going to be up to par. It's not going to have the message that I want, or people are going to misinterpret it. So for me, it was more of like, man, I completed it. I'm good. And then the real clicker in my head, I don't know what is the best way to say that, is when people started interacting with the art. Now that for me was the game changer.
Interacting, how so?
Black people walking by the Beverly Center being like, oh wow, I feel seen. This was for me. And so, is it West Hollywood? Where is it? Where's that part of town? Is very very not ethnic.
Right.
It's very money.
Right.
And so for them to allow me to have such a powerful piece on their building was monumental. And then also for my people to be able to see it and know that they're being heard, they're being seen, and that they're not alone.
Yeah.
That was important for me.
getting into your resume, which you also sent to me, and I was like, impressive, very impressive.
We be trying.
Especially since, like you said, it's only been 5 years. I was like, your girl's busy. So one thing that sticks out to me on your resume was you having the feature on the HBO show. What was it? Sex Life of College Girls?
Yes.
How,
Yes. I've actually had the opportunity to work with several different studios.
how does that come about? Are you submitting for them, or they reach out to you? How does that come about?
Honestly, a lot of my bigger gigs come from Instagram.
Really?
So I had a representative. Oh, no. For Sex Life of College Girls, I had actually another artist from like 3 years ago. Another artist by the name Adele Supreme. I had actually worked her show, just trying to help her assist, get her, painting started and everything. And this person attended, and she said, I know that you were there just to help, but you were so charismatic and whatever. I just knew I had to follow you on social media. And so 3 years later, she became the set designer for Sex Life of College Girls. And she had remembered me, and she was like, hey, so I'm doing this. Would you like to work? And I was like, yes. So I got that gig. And then just from word of mouth, I've worked on several different sets, which is pretty amazing.
Coming from the
so you
shy
never
girl.
know who's watching.
That's exactly my point. You never know who's watching, and you never know who's who. And even though they're here at this moment, you don't know where they're going to be in the next moment and who they know. So what that interaction may turn into. So that's why I feel like I always pride myself on making that first impression the best, in whatever way, but most importantly, organic and authentic, because I feel like that's what people take away and remember.
And you never know, volunteer work turns into real work or just apprenticeship. There's so much you can learn. Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, girl, I really hope that you're celebrating these wins, because these wins are just so inspirational, and I'm a big believer that celebrating your wins only brings more wins, right? So what I'm bringing with this podcast is real people with relatable stories who bet on themselves and win, or are winning. How do you feel you bet on yourself?
Yo, when I tell you my family thought I was crazy. Okay, so when I met you, I was on the tail end of my 6-figure job that I was a seminar director. So I was able to, we flew all around the world teaching Amazon. And I got to meet new people every day. I had all my Sky Miles getting upgraded every time. Like it was the life. But and I had money, and I had, all the Instagram shots that you could have. But I was miserable. And so at that point, I felt like something had to change. So I came to an end with that job. And I told my family that I was going to just do art as my career. Like, I don't have any kids. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have like any other obligations. My rent at that time was $500 per month. I had saved up like 50 grand. I was like, all right, so this is the time to do me. I had no other bills.
To leap.
So for 2 months, like, I knew in my heart that I wanted to be an artist, and this was my time. But at the same time, my skills weren't where I needed them to be. So I had some friends that were, trying to be supportive, and they would commission me to do things, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank you."
Really? Because I was gonna ask, how are you able to discern between your insecurities and your own personal voice that's telling you, oh, this isn't good enough or whatever, and it actually not being good enough? How do you discern the two? I mean, I guess besides you literally giving the artwork to your friends and them being like, okay. Well, where's that
I had
separation?
there there's a separation, and I guess just the way people treat you.
Yeah.
I remember I had did this like 6-foot bird, and it had like 3 different panels on it. It took me like 6 months to do. And one of my friends had like purchased it, whatever. I had sent it up to San Francisco, and he got it, and he was like, "Thank you." Or I used to get the clients that um they would commission me, and they would be like, "Okay, so but I want it like this, and this, and it has to have this and this color and this and that." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And then I would follow all the rules.
And they
And
don't like the
now
way
when
it
I get
looks.
commissions, I mean, for those type of paintings, I was like, whatever, you asked for it.
That's what I
But
mean. They
now
ask
I
for
feel
it,
like,
but then they don't
yeah.
like it.
So they wanted me to do it in another person's style.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is you can tell where you're at in your career. At least I feel like this is a good gauge by how your clients treat you. I feel like now when I'm given a project or commissioned for something, people are like, "Oh, I trust you. I trust that you know the direction that I want to go. This is the general, like what I want it to be." And they let me do my thing.
So you definitely have that brand authority now.
Yes. And I feel like it's earned.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't there's no way to jump from that. And I feel like you have to go through those, hard years of commissions and things going through horribly.
How long do you
side.
think it took though? Like it's been 5 years. How many years do you think you took where it was doing the trial and error phase and, creating art and then kind of being looked at like, okay.
I want to say it. I mean, I feel like I'm still in that phase though. I'm still really new to art. So I don't want to, claim things like I'm already there, but
claim it, girl.
I know it took me a year and some change to get to the point where I could, of studying and knowing that I can replicate something that someone asked me to do. Okay. I'm gonna execute it. And then it took me probably 6 months after that to feel confident in it.
Okay. For other artists who are out there who are maybe looking to make that jump from, working that stable corporate job, whatever it may be, getting that stable paycheck to pursuing your passions, what steps did you take to lean into doing more of your art as opposed to, relying on the 9-to-5?
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. So the baby steps for me, I started, I'm still not where I want to be. I want to reiterate that, but you have to take yourself seriously. There was a moment where I was taking commissions, but I was still painting in my bed. I'm like, if I'm a real artist, I can't paint in my bed. But then I also wanted to, still, I'm saving money. I don't want to have to get a job, and I want to be able to give myself enough time. So I'm going to keep this $500 rent, but I'm going to go ahead, get rid of all of my furniture in my bedroom. At this point, I was only renting a room. So I got rid of all the furniture in my room besides my desk. And then I took one of the walls and I put canvas up, and that became my studio. I put, that gym floor on the floor so I wouldn't mess anything up. And that was my studio until every day I got up and acted like I was painting in my studio. I was no longer painting in my bed. And I felt like that was the baby step that I needed to take myself more seriously. And then from there, all right, so what do other artists do? I'm going to go ahead and figure out more about branding, on how to market myself. I'm actually going to go to different museums. I'm going to talk and make community with other artists. I think that that's one of the biggest things, because you want to be able to know that you're not the only one on this journey. And also, I get encouraged when I see my friends out there like doing their thing. So knowing that they're still in the fight helps me in the fight.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then also, you have to just know that not everyone's going to be supportive. My family and my friends said I was having a whole life crisis. And I just had to be obedient to the voice in my head that this was going to work.
I love that word.
And
I love that you said that you had to be obedient to the voice in your head. And I feel like I've started so many projects or, jobs that, not jobs, businesses. And, you have the family just kind of like, oh, what are you doing now? And you're wanting them to support you and you're expecting them to. But after you do this a while, you realize they're not obligated to support you. And you have to understand that not what you're making is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And that includes your family and friends. That includes your family and friends. I most times say, like, if you want to see if something that you're starting is going to be successful, you need to cast that net wide. Don't start with your inner circle. You need to go wide. If anything, I start internally to get the truth. But also it's like you can take heed to what they're saying, but you still got to listen and be obedient to that voice inside of you because they haven't done what you're trying to do. They're not doing what you're trying to do. So it's no offense to them, but it's like finding that fine line of like, I still got to stay true to me, my voice, and that vision that I have that I don't quite yet know how to articulate to you. But I see it, I feel it, and I gotta follow that path and have the strength to do that. So I think that's so big, is just
because only you can define you.
Only you can define you. Only you can define you.
And we're constantly evolving. I feel like for whatever reason, society preaches that we have to be one thing. We go to school to do one thing, and then we do that for the rest of our lives. And as a person, we're constantly evolving. And you might have known me 10 years ago when I was a quiet sheep of a girl, but that's not the woman I am today. And that's not going to be the woman I am tomorrow. So allow me to define me.
Exactly. And it's like you want to, sometimes it does kind of make you angry because you're like, oh, you're not going to support me now when I need the support. But when I'm on and popping, that's when you want to support me, and but then you got to realize that's just the way it goes, right? You got to earn that brand of authority, so to speak. You got to put in the time, and you're not, it's not owed to you that people just like yourself and like what you put out there. You have to deserve that. You have to earn that. And you do that by, like you said, putting in the work, doing the trial and error, failing and learning how to come back and be like, all right, okay, I failed, but okay, now I know what not to do next round. And then you just keep rinse and repeating. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. So I want to thank you so much, Brittney, for your time. I sincerely want to thank you. And I know what I think about you. I think you're winning. I think you're killing it. I do want to ask, though, do you think you're winning?
Oh, I think I'm on a upswing. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm winning. To be honest, I haven't even scratched the surface of where I want to be and what I want to do. Like, I'm surprised every day that I have traction, that people care about what I produce. I think that's incredible. But yeah, I'm headed the way I want to be. I'm in the right direction.
Yeah. I'm really proud of you. I've seen your growth. Thank you. And can you please, I know we talked earlier about a lot of projects that you're working on and you cannot talk about them due to NDAs. So what I want you to do is go ahead and drop all your links. Where can people see your work? Your social media handles, so that after they hear this, they can go check you out and support.
Yes, you can find me at Brittney S. Price on all platforms.
Well, so I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us on Pour the Tea Thursdays. You know what? We're gonna have to have you back so that you can talk about a lot of the projects, because I'm really excited for what you have in store. And I know you can't speak about it, but we're definitely going to have to do a follow-up so everybody can know more about that.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome.
A great platform.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Brittney. And that's a wrap. Episode 3 is a wrap. Wait, can I shout out my arms right now? These are some Yoga 6 arms. Okay, anyways, I digress. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to support Brittney, check out her work and all the murals we were talking about on the show. Her handles will be below, as well as for me. If you have any questions, any comments, any critiques, drop them in my DMs at catchtea, if you can, .podcast. I may listen, I may not. But but for real, I am figuring this out as I go. I was told to just tell my story and serve as a connector in person on this platform. So that's what I'm hoping to do for y'all. Catch me Thursday after next. It's every second Thursday for episode 4. And I hope to kill it and bring you guys more content that you enjoy. So until next time, catch me later, y'all. Peace.